Long ago, before the rise of modern cities and paved roads, the Igbo people of southeastern Nigeria lived in thriving communities bound by tradition, unity, and reverence for their ancestors. Among their many celebrations, one festival stood above all, a royal occasion of color, power, and pride, the Ofala festival. Rooted in ancient customs, the Ofala marks the renewal of life, authority, and thanksgiving for the reign of the Obi or Igwe, the traditional ruler of the kingdom. It is not just a celebration, it is the living heartbeat of Igbo royalty and heritage. The story of the Ofala begins centuries ago, in the old kingdoms of Onitsha, Noi, and other Igbo lands. The word Ofala comes from the Igbo phrase Ofa Ola, meaning the authority of the land. It symbolizes the moment when the king, after a period of retreat and reflection, reemerges to bless his people and reaffirm his covenant with them. Traditionally, the king would spend days in seclusion, seeking spiritual renewal, praying to the ancestors, and thanking Chukwu, the Almighty, for preserving his throne and his people. The Ofala was the moment he stepped out once again, adorned in full royal regalia, to celebrate life, leadership, and the unity of the land. As dawn breaks on the day of Ofala, the palace becomes a hive of activity. The air hums with the sound of ojin, gongs, ekwe, wooden drums, and the rhythmic chants of praise singers. The villagers, dressed in their finest attires, the men in Izagu shirts and red caps, the women in richly woven wrappers and coral beads, gather in the palace square. The scent of roasted yam, palm wine, and incense fills the air, mingling with the excitement that spreads through every heart. Drummers beat ancient rhythms that seem to echo the heartbeat of the ancestors, and dancers sway gracefully, their feet stamping the red earth in unison. Suddenly, a hush falls over the crowd. Trumpets sound, the moment everyone has waited for. The Obi or Igwe appears. Dressed in resplendent robes embroidered with gold, a leopard skin across his shoulder, coral beads adorning his neck, he steps forward with majestic dignity. His crown gleams under the sunlight, symbolizing the divine authority bestowed upon him. Behind him walk the Ichi, the title chiefs, each wearing their red caps and holding their Ofo, the sacred staff of authority. Together, they form a living symbol of order, tradition, and continuity. The king raises his hand in blessing, and the crowd erupts in joy. Igwe echoes across the square. The drummers intensify their rhythm, and dancers leap with renewed energy. The Ofala has begun. It is more than a pageant, it is a sacred dialogue between the ruler and his people, between the living and the ancestors. The king offers prayers for peace, prosperity, and unity. In return, his people pay homage, presenting gifts, kola nuts, and yams, tokens of loyalty and gratitude. As the celebration continues, different cultural groups perform masquerades wore in vibrant costumes, each representing spirits of the ancestors or forces of nature. The Igil, the grand masquerade towering above all others, dances majestically into the arena, its presence commanding awe and respect. The crowd watches in amazement as the Igil's colorful raffia and mirrors shimmer in the sun. Children clap, elders nod in reverence, and the sound of the Ojo flute pierces the air like a call from the ancient world. Throughout the day, the palace becomes the center of life, filled with music, laughter, and spiritual reflection. Visitors from far and wide come to witness the grandeur of the Ofala, paying their respects to the throne that stands as the soul of the kingdom. It is a time of reconciliation, where old disputes are forgiven, friendships renewed, and new titles conferred. For the Igbo people, Ofala is not merely about royalty, it is about community, a reminder that the strength of a people lies in their unity and shared heritage. As the sun sets, the king gives his closing blessings. He prays for his people's harvest to be plentiful, for their children to prosper, and for peace to dwell in every home. The royal drums beat softly, signaling the end of the day's festivities, but the spirit of Ofala lingers, in the songs, in the dances, in the hearts of all who witnessed it. Firelight flickers across the palace square as families gather to share food, laughter, and stories of the day's glory. Through the generations, the Ofala festival has remained a living symbol of Igbo identity and resilience. Even in modern times, with changing customs and new technologies, the Ofala continues to shine as a bridge between the past and the future, reminding every son and daughter of Igbo land that heritage is not something to be forgotten, but something to be celebrated. For the Igbo, the Ofala is more than a festival, it is a renewal of life, a reaffirmation of leadership, and a declaration that tradition never dies. It tells the story of a people rooted in dignity, order, and faith. It is a timeless reminder that a kingdom thrives when its people remember who they are and where they come from. As the final drumbeat fades and the moon rises high over the land of Zozo, the words of the elders echo through the night. He who knows his roots never loses his path, for the tree that honors its roots will always stand tall.